Welcome back to the Reentry Room. I'm Alexa Starks, leadership expert and founder of Executive Moms and mom to two toddlers. I help companies stop quietly losing working moms by building systems that actually support them during reentry and beyond. This episode is deeply personal, but it's also one of the most common themes I hear from other women in my workshops, in one on ones, in roundtables, and in just casual chit chats. This concept of I miss being seen for my mind. I miss being recognized for my intelligence, for what I can do. That, oh, I'm the Excel expert or I'm the XYZ expert. And so let's talk about this. So before I had kids, before both my toddlers, I was the strategist. I was a leader, I was a strategist, I was a problem solver. I was an incredibly hard worker. I was the one who connected the dots that others didn't see. And I was so good at my job. And when I came back from maternity leave, both my maternity leaves, but I suddenly I remembered that I wasn't being asked to do those things. And it wasn't because they were kind and caring about workload capacity. It just wasn't seen that way anymore. And there was more assumptions about what I was capable of and what I wasn't capable of anymore. And that undercurrent of doubt followed me into every meeting. I started questioning my own capabilities, and there were plenty of days that were very hard. And I definitely couldn't get as much work done because my baby was sick or whatever. But I was just as capable, and sure, some mornings I was, up early before the kids or working late. I still got all my work done. I wanted to take on more work, but I just wasn't looked at the same anymore. And so I internalized all of that doubt, all those assumptions. And I started doubting myself too and holding back my ideas and playing small. But was actually not because I actually thought I was small or incapable of it, but because that the culture around me forgot how to see me as not just a mom, but as that same brilliant strategist, ops expert. And so this happens in so many companies. I've seen in my workshops, I've talked to other women about that they have also experienced. That managers think they're being kind by easing pressure, but what they're really doing is sidelining leadership potential. We stop inviting moms to the table, we stop tapping them for stretch projects, we give them space to breathe, but not room to shine. I wanted to get promoted, and instead I got passed over for it, even when I was asking to take on more work, asking to sit on more big meetings and pitch more of my ideas, and it still wasn't enough. I got looked over. And this is so common with other working moms. And then we wonder why we disengage. If there's no room for us to grow, what's the point in staying in a company? Might as well hop or quit or start my own business, right? And I remember talking to one woman, and she said, I didn't want less. I just wanted to have a better return from maternity leave. And instead, they decided my career path for me. And that can seriously mess up your career trajectory. I wanted to work my way up to the C suite, but instead, I got sidelined for promotion and got pushed out. And so I decided to start my own business, Executive Moms. But that's besides the point. So, this is how leadership pipelines fail. And this is how we end up with a C suite that's a third or less comprised of women, because women are just being pushed out more and more and more and looked over and passed over for promotions. And so, what I teach inside of my Reentry Blueprint workshop, some of the things are: one, support without sidelining. So, for managers, that means asking your employees what they want to own. Don't make assumptions, right? So ask them what projects they want to take on. What's their capacity like? If they're overwhelmed one week, that might be totally different the next week or the next month, right? When you first come back from leave, a few weeks after giving birth or 2 months, 3 months, you're totally different capacity and workload than when you're 6 months postpartum or 9 months postpartum. So make sure as a manager that you keep checking in on that capacity. And as an employee, as a working mom, you also keep checking in with yourself and advocating as that capacity changes. And then two, check your assumptions, right? As a manager, are you equating caregiving with fragility? When you see a working mom have to have her baby hop on a call because their baby's homesick and she's trying to juggle working and taking care of her baby, what assumptions, what biases does that bring up for you? Are you muting someone else's voice because you're afraid to overwhelm them? Because that's, again, assumptions. Don't assume at all. And three, create visibility plans. One of the things I do is create a 30, 60, 90-day plan in my workshops that the managers co create with their working moms so that you can start to have those career conversations again at sort of 90 days back from leave where you can assess, okay, here's the career trajectory I want. Maybe it's different than what you wanted before you had a baby, or maybe it is the same. Maybe it's more and you're more ambitious. But for so many women returning from leave, make sure that you have a plan for how you'll reconnect to them and their influence and leadership capabilities and ask them, what do they want to be known for? And as an employee, as a working mom, make sure you're checking in with yourself and asking yourself, what is this still what I want to do? Do I still want that VP promotion or that C suite promotion or manager promotion? Do I still want that? Do I still want more work? Or am I good at where I am right now? Or do I want to do something more meaningful and different? But if you do want more, make sure that you're working with your manager on those visibility plans and reassessing as you get more and more postpartum and you can take on more work. Make sure you're reassessing that. Check in. And so for the working moms listening, you are not your calendar. You're not the daycare drop off. You're not the pile of unfinished laundry in your head or a to do list. You are brilliant and strategic and clear eyed and capable, and you deserve to be in rooms that expect that from you. And sure, some days are harder than others, especially when you're newly postpartum, and that's okay. Make sure that you are checking in on those daily capacity on how you're doing that day and reassess. Check in weekly, check in monthly. Make sure that you are reassessing yourself and your abilities because you are still so brilliant. And some days it's hard, but other days you can rock that shit. So, if this episode hit something in you, a fire, a flicker of who you used to be or who you are becoming and transforming into, don't silence yourself. And if you're a leader listening to this, start asking yourself, am I giving this woman, these working moms, am I giving them the support or am I giving her invisibility disguised as me being kind and making assumptions? Because when a woman says, I miss being seen for my mind and my intelligence and my capabilities, what she's really saying is, I'm still here. I just need someone to see me. And let's be the culture that finally does. If this episode made you rethink how we support working parents, share it with someone in your corner or someone in charge. And if your company is ready to lead the change, learn more about the Reentry Blueprint workshop at executivemoms.co. Because thriving after leave should not be the exception, it should be the system.